Hi there, welcome to a new video where I will show you how to install the LDAP server and LDAP client and how the system would find new users using LDAP and authenticate them using LDAP. On our earlier video, I showed you how to set up Ubuntu cluster having NFS, DHCP, DNS and NTP. I will work on top of that and install LDAP server and LDAP client. So right now what you're seeing is that I have logged into my Ubuntu master and now I will raise my privileges to root. Next I will update the system. While it is updating, let me show you some of the LDAP configurations. So here I have mentioned some of those configurations. The domain name would be cloud.com. My base DN would be DC Cloud and DC.com. My LDAP server will be running on my master Ubuntu, which is master.cloud.com. The host name would be LDAP followed by master.cloud.com. The password would be Sumit. So these are some of the configuration I wanted to show you. Let me see whether the update has happened or not. Some issue has occurred. Let me try again. Yeah, so update was done. Next I'm going to install the LDAP server. The command for this is to install slapd and LDAP utils. The administrative password would be Sumit. Next we are going to install LDAP auth client, NSCD and lippam. Okay, the LDAP auth client will also install the PAM modules which are required for the system to authenticate or search for new users. So this would be the next set of commands we are going to execute. LDAP server is installed. Now let's install the map PAM modules. Here asking for my LDAP server name, so it would be just remove the last I and there is an extra colon which is there. Okay, then put master.cloud.com. My base DN would be cloud and com. Use LDAP version 3. Make local root database admin. Yes. Does the database LDAP database require login? Yes. My root account would be admin cloud and com. Asking for the password. Proxy user, you can put anything, just make sure that you have the correct base DN. It is asking for the password. Now what these have done is that it has configured the LDAP configuration, plus it has installed the PAM modules. So these are the two important things which have happened now. Okay, This is just to keep my LDAP password in some of the files. Just make sure that you protect these files so that only root user can read it. Next, this ns switch. What this file contains is how the user would be authenticated, or where the authentication or user details would be found. So here currently what it contains, it only looks at the local system to find for new users or authenticate. We are going to modify this file so that it will now look for LDAP in the LDAP server also. So this command basically does that thing. So now if I go and look in this file, you will see that now LDAP has been added as an extra place or location where the user details or authentication details would be found. Next set of change we are going to do is in our PAM modules. Just as a caution that before you make any changes in your PAM configuration, make a copy of your PAM configuration and also open a separate terminal as a root, so that if your configurations are incorrect and for some reason if you have logged out of in that session and configurations are incorrect, then you won't be able to log in. So it's better to keep another session open and open it as a root. So basically these configurations says that for authentication as well as for session management, use PAM modules. Another thing I want to show you separately is that whenever user is successfully logged in and the user it's a new user and it does not have any home directory, then this particular line basically says that create a home directory for that user. So I'm going to copy this entire configuration. Last thing what we are doing here, okay, yeah, and paste it. I have made the changes. Next I am going to start the NSCD service. Yeah, started. This basically says that in the sudoers file, currently admin group has sudoers access. What I am doing here is that I am also adding admins, another group called admins as a sudoer. Why I am doing that is that in LDAP I am going to create a new group called admins, and whoever or user who is having who is part of this admins group will also be having sudoers access. So I have done that. This particular set of commands, basically what it is doing is that it is making open LDAP user as the owner of the LDAP directories. Done. This set of commands you can execute or you may not. This I created for automation purpose. Okay, you can ignore them also. So next what we are going to do is to I'll explain some of the LDAP commands I'm going to execute. This LDAP command is what it is doing is that it is granting admin user, which we created earlier during the LDAP server setup, granting access to do anything in the LDAP database. Here what we are creating is we are creating two top level organization units. One is called users, another one is called groups. In groups we are going to add multiple groups. One of the groups which we are adding is called admins group and users group. And at the end what we are doing here is that we are creating a new user and we are adding that user to the admins group. If you see here, I have mentioned group ID as 500, which is a group ID of admins user. And since admins user or a admins group is part of sudoers, or I have added it as a part of sudoers file, so it will have a sudo privilege. So these are all the commands which are doing it. There are some variables which I am using it here. So in order to use them, I am setting them in here. Let me again set them. First let me copy this. Next Let me do the same here. I'm copying it from here, paste it. Now let me execute one by one. So this will grant admin user with all the privileges in LDAP. Next we are changing the log level here. So next we are adding 2 organizational unit. It is added. Now we are creating a group. One is admins group, one is users group, and last we are creating a new user and adding it in the admins group. Done. So now what we have done is we have created a new user, and that user is part of admins group. Now the new user has been added. Let us check and see if the system is able to see the new user in LDAP. So as you can see, now it is able to directly log in as SMHAI. Similarly, if I again type, it will ask for password, and if I put Sumit, then I am able to log in. Same thing if I do sudo, then it will ask for my password, and now you can see I am able to log in as a root also. This is because I am if I see look at the ID of SMHI, you see it is part of admins group, and in our earlier commands we have made sure that admins are part of sudoers. So now LDAP server is installed and working in the master node. Now let us install the LDAP client at the child nodes of Ubuntu cluster. So my child node has started, so let me log in. Currently I am in my master node. Let me log into the child node. Okay, so I am doing so, it should be SSH. I have logged into the child node. Here I am going to install the LDAP client packages. Let me raise my privilege to root. So let us install LDAP client. It has same set of configurations, so I'll not explain again about the LDAP configurations. First let me update the packages. Yeah. So here I am going to install only the client packages of LDAP. Again, it is here also I have to configure the same, so that the client can go to the LDAP server and fetch the details. Cloud, and it would be com3. Yes, same details. Com. So I have configured the LDAP client also here. This is just to save the LDAP password. This command. So I don't need these set of things. Same thing, we have to make changes, that NSS switch, so that it will look for LDAP server, and the same set of PAM configurations files for child node also. We'll restart the NSCD service, and I will same thing, I will make admins as sudoers. So now the LDAP client is set up in the child node. Let us see whether here also I am able to log in as a new user. So I will log in as SUSMAJI, and as you can see in the child node also it is able to identify the new user set up in the LDAP server. And if I try to log in, ask for the password, and that's it. And if I make myself sudo, then I am also able to log in as a root. So this completes the setup of LDAP server and LDAP client in Ubuntu cluster. Next, I will show you how to set up Kerberos in the Ubuntu cluster in the future video. Thank you. Bye.